This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your live market chat recap / whatever for Tuesday, December 13th, 2022. Can I get a mic check, por favor? I would appreciate that highly. Going to give it a few minutes. If you're watching this after the fact, go to approximately, I would say, the 6 minute and 30-second mark. And that's where we'll start digging into it. I like to let people come in, maybe ask a few questions. Just good place to start. So hopefully you're doing well. Oops, wrong monitor. There you go. There we go. Yeah, again, hopefully you're doing well. Traders market, gotta love it. Second mouse, definitely getting the queso today. Cannot complain about that. Ay, freaking love it. You know, didn't get as much short at the open as I would want, but got some trades for some longs. Mike is good, awesome. Playing some stuff into tomorrow's long. I mean, I don't know how much I'm going to hold through it, but I still know one thing very certainly I will be doing is trading, giving the opportunities. When the market shows you things, you take advantage of it. And it's one of those things, if you got in to the market before the CPI, you rolled the dice. Congratulations if you hit. Problem is that if you crapped out, you could have gotten slaughtered, or say you were short like some of the clowns on internet were. And again, keep in mind, everybody knows this for a fact. One of the things that we talked about consistently was not that we were shorting now, we're either waiting for a short on the pop or waiting for a dip. Either way, there was really no direction that we were clearly trading in and we were waiting for. And so when the market ripped this morning up to the levels that we're talking about, we've been talking about, and we'll show and continue to talk about, it made sense to start a small short position. Not go all in, not do anything, but wait for the extremes. And that's why the second mouse gets the cheese. And it would have been no different. The opposite would have been if we dumped at the open. I guarantee we would have jumped in. So anyway, I'll talk more about this. Still got some small SPY positions as hedges against my shorts. Bought them in the 399 to 400 range and just traded around a little bit of it. Just kind of letting it go. So, hey, hold on one second. Let's see who this is. Hello.
And a process being filed against you for several different matters.
Oh, right.
I'm calling to verify that we do have the correct address for this individual.
Yes. I love when people put in your cell phone and you get like a call of like, hey, we are verifying that the lawsuit is going to move forward and we need your information, blah, blah, blah. Spam calls. Gotta love it. Gotta love technology. Anyway, I don't even know what I was talking about now other than let's just keep making money. If you're trading well and you're being patient and you're waiting for extremes, that's all you can do. It's just the folks who intraday ask me, what now? What now? And it's like, well, we're not really at anything that I would garner as extremes, you know? I think a lot of people got screwed up today when the market pulled back to the 200-day and then it rallied a little bit and then it went lower. And it's like, no. You better be a little more thoughtful than that. Because what happens when the VIX spikes into the, you know, whatever, what was the high of the VIX today? Up in the 25s, don't be surprised by what? You know, decent sized moves. And you got one. And you're welcome if you took advantage of it. Yeah. Any questions, thoughts, concerns before we get started on this? I mean, I appreciate all the love and support, the generous donations. Again, because I think a lot of people who just sometimes having somebody there to help you confirm what you're doing. And again, if you want to chip off a donation, great. I want you to pay yourself, pay your taxes, treat your family first, buy them a Christmas gift. And then if you say, hey, you know what? This information isn't really useful. And remember, abundant mindset attracts abundance. You know, I've always been a good tipper, very generous with people because I think the universe, whatever you want to call it, brings it back to you. So if that's how you feel about things, cool beans. If you're in the hole and you're struggling, I get it. It's not easy to be generous when you're down, or it's not easy to be generous when you're struggling. I mean, I get that. So I don't ask anyone for anything. Trading's what paid the bills. If you ever do a real estate deal, I'd love to be involved, at worst as a referral, give you some advice, take a little commission cut off of that based on the seller's paying it, not you as the buyer. And if you are selling your property, also I can be a part of that. Keep that in mind. It will take a small percentage out of your listing fee, but again, it's whether it goes completely to all one broker or you get two for the price of one. I love helping people with real estate deals because I think that's the thing. Like, there's a skill in negotiation and understanding people, and I love talking to people. I don't know if most of y'all know, but poker is one of my strengths. I love reading people. I can tell when they're bluffing. I can see people sweat. I can see when their voices change, when they won't look at you, when they just do fidget, just little things, and you can feel that. Even when I call people, agents on the phone, I've heard them bluff 1,000 times. And just know that, sometimes people will tell you what you want to hear, and that sometimes is not the truth. And so you have to be able to read people. It's fun. It's definitely fun, especially the skill of negotiating in real estate, because there's a lot of mirroring and labeling techniques. If you haven't, what is my man? Oh God, he was the the best for bomb negotiation. What was it? I think David Voss. Right? It's David Voss. Let me look again. Yeah, Chris Voss. Sorry, Chris Voss. If you ever heard of him, Never Split the Difference. The guy is a negotiating champion. The man. So, anyway, that's who I always studied under. Anyway, I'm going to hit the record button and let people jump in. I don't see a ton of people involved, but hell, I don't care. Let's keep it going. All right, let's start the recording. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. And this is your daily market recap for Tuesday, December 13th, 2022. Hopefully you're having a great day. Let's dig into it. Going into today, we told people, please, if you don't have any positions, don't have any positions. You've got the VIX, so you got quad witching OPEX, you've got the FOMC, you've got big economic data today with CPI, and on Thursday, retail sales, Philly Fed, Empire State Manufacturing, yada, yada, yada. Tons of stuff going on. You knew the market was going to do what? Play games. Anybody who didn't see this coming, I'm sorry. We talked about this for almost weeks going into this. This week was going to be very important. It was going to be potentially a top, bottom, choppy, whatever action that was going to play with the most amount of people's emotions. Did the video on mental capital, how most people waste it. We saved it. And, your emotional mental capital, whatever you want to call it, has been preserved. Well, you saw today's action. You saw the gap up, and you absolutely said to yourself, let's watch some of these levels, and we'll talk about when we get to the SPY. Maybe you can start some shorts. Now, did you go all in short? Maybe you did. Congratulations. I did. And again, because I'm looking more for the swing trade, looking for the bigger setups, layer in, layer out kind of thing. But one of the things we talked about today, too, posted this on Twitter, posted in the Discord room, you could buy the dip. So now I'm basically back to neutral, which I love going into the FOMC. And if the market rips, pops, great. If it drops, I can stop out of my longs. I mean, I'm basically positioned so that I can't lose. And volatility becomes your friend. That is the way to do it. Now, having multiple, 7, 8 point spread within the SPY, I guess maybe 9, within some of the entries got entered on positions. Again, all small, nothing large. Because what is the thing that I warn people about? Retest, trying to predict the exact tops and bottoms can be very difficult. And so one of the things that we should think about at this point going forward is the Feds don't talk until later in the afternoon. So you're going to see some implied volatility increase tomorrow, which means probably both ways. Unless some news comes out of nowhere and sinks the market, it's pretty safe to say there will be some sort of retraces higher. Could you get the Santa Claus effect? Again, all of it depends on what the Feds say. What is their forward guidance? You have to be thoughtful of that. And if you're not thoughtful of that, because again, what they're going to do tomorrow, 50 basis point rate hike, no one gives a crap about. Sorry. Meh, who cares? The questions you have to start asking yourself is, what is going to be their forward guidance and how is it interpreted? And honestly, this is what's hilarious about it, is the forward guidance could be exactly what you think it's going to be, but the market reacts a certain way. We've talked about the Thursday post FOMC Wednesdays has now become the actual real deal. It's almost like the Wednesday is a spectacle, trap, up and down, all over the place, closes, who gives a crap, and then Thursday is the next direction. So now that you've heard that and you're thoughtful and you're like, all right, well, do I need a buy here? No, maybe not. Try to wait towards the lows. Do you need a short here? No. You got to be patient. And if you miss some of the moves, you have to be thoughtful. Like, this is you waiting for pocket aces versus trading 7 deuce offsuit and trying to hit the pot. You might be able to do that, but do you want to take on that kind of risk? Because you're going to have to put chips in the pot to win. And you don't want to do it with crappy starting hands, essentially, out of position hands. And when I say out of position, we've said this a lot. when there's news, big ideas coming, something brewing, it's better to wait for the reaction and then trade accordingly versus trying to anticipate it and then potentially get blown out. Because there's people on Twitter who are like high-fiving, they did so awesome today, and it's like, well, none of them took profits at the open, which is hilarious. And then they're like, well, you were wrong. And it was like, wait, no. We put ourselves in a neutral position. Nothing was wrong. We were in cash. The people who are wrong were the ones who bought before this and got lucky on the upside and then didn't cash out. Or what it would, and this is what I always worry about, is what if you would have bought calls? What if you would have bought calls into today's action and the market dumped 10 points? You're screwed. Absolutely screwed. So it's one of those things. First mouse gets the trap. Typically second mouse gets the cheese. If you want to be part of the Discord room, I've told people it's closed. If you want to get in it, you need to tell me your story. I'd like to know more about you. If you feel insecure about doing such, well, then you can just follow me on Twitter. Not a problem. Posting everything all day when I'm around, of what we're up to, trying to keep people informed of expected trades, where we're looking at. Here it goes, about hourly, looking at levels, just keeping people informed. Also, too, if you're newer to trading, you're like, what the hell is he talking about? Please watch the educational trading videos, the Back to Basics series. Got to start somewhere. Education is free. If you want your tuition to be high, go right ahead. Feel free and pay for it. I would try to give it away for free because I'm not scared of competition. It's no different than anybody in any profession who's great at something. They knew it took 10,000 hours minimum and lots of learning, that no one will do it. So you can give them the answers. Will they actually do it? Nah. All right, Bitcoin. Nice little pop today. We've talked about it going nowhere for the last, I don't know, it seems like forever. Since, I mean, man, damn. 12 days. All right, now it pops up. Cool. Looks okay. Now you've got another, looks like, trend line potentially forming here. Man, this is just the never-ending story with this thing. It just makes lower lows, lower highs, but trend lines abound. Test, fail, test, fail, test, fail. All right, the next one. Well, it looks like it's up near 19,000. I personally have no position on Bitcoin. Don't care about it. Don't want to put my thought process into it because there's right now way too many variables that could absolutely destroy digital currencies, and that's the big problem. I don't see anything that's all of a sudden going to be like, oh, got to buy digital currencies. No, it seems to be the news has everything and every reason to slap this stuff down. Doesn't mean it can't go higher. It just probably isn't going anywhere. That's the biggest problem. Oil, told y'all yesterday. Interesting how it held the range, channel lows. We talked about this area, remember 60s, upper 60s, mid 60s. That's which I would watch for if there's a monster market dumper. This area, we said yesterday when it popped, it's probably going to pop into the mid 70s. Well, here you go. Could it backtest this trend line? That's always possible. 77. I would watch it. I personally am now at this point where with oil, it really depends. And this is the thing. Like, if you have stabs in at the lows, awesome. I did not get such. And I tried to show people, if you studied 2008, 2009, you had the bottom in December and then tons of volatility in oil following. Here, I'll do it again because I love you guys and I want people to win. I don't want them to be confused. Here you go. Where's 2008? Oh, where's the monthly? Come on. Oh, here you go. You had the bottom in December, and then you had a bottom in January. And so, and then obviously the Feds got a little more dovish. If the market dumps, that's what I would expect, something like that, where oil is in this sticking range, right here, somewhere in this sticking range. And if that's the case, it's probably going to leave it alone. Now, remember, it's hard to compare years to years past. Even at worst, if we miss the bottom here, it just is what it is. I mean, there's going to be other opportunities. We like it I don't know if long-term, short-term, whatever term you want to describe it as. We like it. I don't have a problem if you're long it from the range lows, but do you trust it? It's kind of like playing the SPY right now. You trade it for what you think it can be, and you know that anything can change at any point. The biggest thing going for oil is that it seems like there's more upside if something goes wrong than good. Unless the whole economy slaps and everybody gives up, well, then fine. But if Russia gets frisky, China gets frisky, Saudis, OPEC get frisky, you got upside. If you don't, maybe it just chops around. That's kind of how it is. It's not a bad trade if you got in at the lows, and if you are trading it, great. Natural gas, somebody was asking me about this today, and they were like, what do you think about it at these levels? Are you interested in trading it? Do you have any? No. Again, we're coming into resistance. I like it, but we're not, you could argue Now, here you go. You could argue, like, is this a head and shoulders, like left shoulder, right shoulder, and head? Or is it about to break out? Well, here you go again. Now you've put yourself in a position where going into the big uncertainties, it could go either way. And so why would I add positions today? Why would I even think about it? If anything, I think someone shorted it, and it makes sense. It's been on fire. At this point, you have to remember your mental, emotional capital. What can you focus on, and what do you think you can be right at with certainty? At this point in these markets, with these oil and gas stuff, I don't have the mental capital to watch it. I just don't. It needs to be at extremes where my alarms are set, or it's just going to do what it's going to do, and I miss it. That's just the reality of trading. If you can't wrap your head around that, and that never happens, and you just think, oh, I got to watch this and watch and watch and watch and watch and watch and watch, and then you watch other ideas go floating by, you kind of screwed up. Come on. You got to understand that. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Hopefully it's a absolute yes. Okay, the dollar. You're welcome. Okay, here's where it's like, I can't really say I was right. I thought there was probably going to be a bounce, but I also said watch this 28 range. I've been saying that for what seems like forever. Well, you gapped down today, and that, to me, signified potentially a novice gap bottom. I know the dollar is not, trades all times, all hours. This is interesting to me because breaking the 200-day would be one of the things that draws bulls into the market, right? But you have to be careful too. If the dollar breaks, and it breaks heavily, and if you're familiar, go look back at 2008, right? What happened in 2008 with the dollar, right? What happened? Well, guess what? The dollar broke, right? The dollar broke, and it started in February of 2009. Well, do we get a drop? Let me now bring it back to the daily, because that was when the Feds were going to pivot. Are the Feds really going to pivot, or is this a trap? You have to think about, like, that's what's really cool about watching the dollar right now. It's like, the dollar rallies, maybe commodities get slapped around, and then the market drops as well. Because keep in mind, what is this year has been focused? Like, bonds and stocks have done terribly. Well, dollar going higher probably had a lot to do with the uncertainty in the world and people taking profits and everything, whether it's emerging markets to, you name it, your favorite sector, or chopping, depending on what sectors you're in, and some have done well. Point being, watch the dollar here. Thought it might pop. It actually gapped down, but look at the volume today. I mean, you have to put on your radar, like write in your notes. I'm writing it now too. Dollar anomaly. Okay. Now, could it retest the lows? Yeah. Could it? Absolutely. Just be aware. Just be aware. And when I say be aware, it's starting to make moves that potentially could trigger bigger moves. Does that make sense? Like, that could be a trap. TLT rallied up today. Again, we said this the last couple of days. I don't think the bond market's moving until the Fed speak. They need to see their forward guidance. At this point, you're at resistance, but it doesn't mean it can't go higher based on what the Fed say. We'll see what happens. The VIX, nice little what? Pop, flop. Now, I said this even intraday. It's probably going to fill the gap. Probably the 20-day. Okay. But I don't really care so much about the VIX chopping in the 22s about what I would like it to do, which would honestly be, if this is a VIX termination, end of the quarter, end of the year kind of thing, I'd love to see the VIX get slammed down one more time. Remember, the put-call ratios picked up a little bit the last couple of days. Love it. Love it down in the 20s. That would make the most sense to me to buy even more putties. Putties. SPY, let's talk about it, because I've been trading this thing today. All right, at the open, was watching it going, all right, you know what? It's close enough to 410. You can start trading it. And again, I'll show you the ideas that we got into. It's only 2. I mean, literally, I'm not that short. Said, this is good enough for government work. This is close enough to my upside target zone, somewhere in this 415 plus, maybe even 420. Again, 420 is a joke. But here's the next point, though. Once it dropped, not short anymore. Give up. Whatever. Don't care. Scalping some longs makes sense going in FOMC because the whole Fed in itself is an uncertainty. And if people are short, they're going to take profits. And if people miss the long, they're probably going to buy the stupid dip. Stupid dip? No, it's called a technical dip. So we talked about the 400 level. Look, it's the old 0.618, getting close to the 20-day, whatever you want to call it. And if you see it on the hourly, let me let me pull it in. I'll show you exactly what I was looking at. Whatever. This 200 period range high. This box. Well, hello, you got it. And then we bought a little bit on the retest, and then sold a little up here, and then bought some back. And now again, a lot of people are like, you didn't post that. I'm like, I got a lot of things going on. And again, for me at this point, I know some people sold higher, which is that's great. I'm glad they posted that, because then hopefully others in the Discord room, I think Ready Set Sell, maybe Sabelina talked about it. Great. Again, I have a small enough position at certain points where I'm like, I was trying to add more and just didn't really do anything other than watch it. Sold a small amount, just going, all right, yeah, that makes sense. Because I was watching the hourly and watching the 10-minute. And if you watch the 10-minute, you saw this kind of long wick just blow out. And it's like, all right, this thing just rallied, what was it, from 399 up to 403. That's 1%. It's probably going to be some profit taking. But ultimately, my goal was to try to keep as much as possible going in to tomorrow of the small position. Keep that in mind. It's of the small position. Not crazy, not huge, not all in. No, just, all right, let's just watch it. And so here, I'm not surprised going into the close. It's rising. Again, this candle blowing up, knocking people, going short, everyone chasing the highs, comes back. You got to love it. Second mouse gets the queso. And so now what? Upside target zone is now retested. We have verification of that. So you got to be thoughtful of that. Is the top in? Maybe. But what did I say earlier in the day? I've been talking about, I'm like, wouldn't be surprised if we close somewhere in the 403, 404 area, somewhere over the 200 day. And I said it this morning for a reason, because I wanted people to think about it from the perspective of the market makers care more about the headlines. They're going to care more about how the market perceived close. Nobody who is paying, the people that aren't paying attention don't realize they got up to 410. All they're going to see is the market was up almost 1% today on the CPI. They're not going to see that it was up to 411, 410.50. Like, people don't realize it was up almost 3%. Average person is not going to get that headline. They're going to get the headline, CPI is coming down. Feds might be done tightening. Bullish market reaction. Is that clear? Is that clear right now? Does that make sense? Everybody listening, like, that's probably what the positioning and for the market to rise more coming up is. That's why I'm like, And everybody who thought the market was going to dump today, I'm like, on the pullback, I'm not surprised it pulled back. It actually provided a great opportunity to buy some longs here. So does that make sense? Everybody clear why the thinking is. Like, thinking like the market makers and news. Not, again, pull your head out of your charts. I've got 8 screens here, and I'm not looking at any of them when I'm thinking about this. I'm trying to think about how the news is going to screw over the most amount of people. And the best way to do that is to be like, hey, look, FOMC, hey, look, CPI's coming down. Bear market should be over. When they do this, the market should rally. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, got it. So, all right. Here, James, I bought some long-dated SMH puts. Again, if you bought them, I hope you bought very little and you got at the high. If you got in at the lows today or anywhere below 409, 408, yeah, good luck. You're going to have to hold out, and might be a rocky road. You might be down 10, 20, 30% on those options before you know you're right, which sucks. That's not the purpose that's hard with options. So, looking at the SPY here, holding around the 402s, not surprised. QQQQQ. Got up to the freaking target range top. Pretty damn close. Closing, hit the 20-day like a boss. Probably going to chop. I'm telling you right now. Think about where price closed and where price is closing today. It's going to look bullish to the average person. The news is going to talk about, hey, look, great day, up 3%. Or sorry, up 1%. Feds are going to be more bullish. Let's see what happens. We don't know for sure, because again, this is the biggest risk you have to take on shorting right now, is that if whatever the Feds say gets the market to continue rallying, do you have the Santa Claus rally? Do you have the January effect? That's where, again, if you are buying puts long dated, great. But you also want to try to get near the highs. Do not chase puts today. Absolutely worst thing you could do, other than if you got in near the highs. And if you didn't trade the first 30 minutes and you just waited, I didn't add any puts. I'm actually buying calls. I mean, I'm trying to explain this to people. Like, I think there's going to be some bounce back. So don't feel like you're lost or you missed the boat. And if you have missed the boat, well, guess what? Welcome to freaking trading. You've missing trades. Nobody misses. The pros never miss trades. No, everyone misses trades, y'all. And you have to accept that. And you have to wait for the next best one, and you have to be patient, because if you want to be a fucking gambler, just deposit your money into my bank account and I'll hold on to it. And I'll give it back to you in a few months when you practice trade and trade like a dipshit and lose a ton of money in your practice account. I'll give it back and say, hey, look, you didn't lose anything. How are your learning lessons? How did it go learning for free? Most people never do that, again, but that's what they do. They get into this with the gambling mentality, and it aggressively pisses me off. I'm like, you are going to lose when you play the game the way the market makers want you to play it, which is the gambling mentality, having to be trading all the time, trying to predict every minute of every day, every hour. It's stupid. It's absolutely ludicrous thinking you have that kind of skill. You are not an algorithm, a computer, or backed by billions of dollars, oh, maybe hundreds of millions in technology. No, you're an idiot. I'm an idiot. We're just trying to take a snapshot and interpret it. You are not that smart. I am not that smart. But we do know how the computers work. We do know how these people work. We do know how the market makers work. That's our advantage and probabilities. IWM, watch for lagging. Well, can we confirm IWM is lagging? Can we confirm it? Yes, I think we can. It's not making new highs. Even when it gapped up today, nowhere close to the recent highs. Red alert. Red alert. Hence why I'm saying if the market rallies, I'm looking to short now. It seems logical. Again, the evidence is presenting itself. You wanted to short in November. This is the problem. You have to let things play out. Oh, you wanted to buy the first pop. Fine. You can. But you don't expect it. Not every move is a V straight line. Okay? Point being is that when chop presents itself, chop is what it is. You don't pretend like it's not going to be chop. Well, watch for lagging. You got it. Okay. Where, now, when? It's probably going to relate to what? What happens the next couple days? Maybe even the next week. What if that happened? Oh, that would just drive people bonkers. Gold. Nice gap up over the 0.786. Now what? Shiitake mushrooms. I mean, this is probably a novice gap, right? Professional gap, ended, novice gap. Thought it might be this one. We got another one. I mean, now you got 1, 2, 3, 4 gaps, big gaps. Maybe this one negates one of them. Still, 3 gap trap. Am I shorting gold? Personally, no. I mean, has it come to my...
I can't really say.
Yeah, you can't say, Siri. I know. Neither can I. I'm at this point where I'm like, I don't trust it, but I'm not going to short it. I still expect the December typical pullback seasonality to play out. Yada, yada, yada. If you want to short it, cool. I mean, it makes sense. Silver, same kind of thing. Gap up, close at the high, or closing at the lows of the day. This is tough. I mean, there's a lot of perceived, like, money rotation into this stuff, but if the market's going to flush, nothing's safe. And I'm talking like the VIX goes up into the 50s, nothing is safe. And if someone tells you gold is safe, okay, well, let's just see what happens. Because typically when liquidation comes, they throw the baby out the bathwater. The only way that I could see the market dumping and gold holding up is if the dollar dumps too. Did you hear what I said? If the dollar dumps too. Because if it doesn't dump, ooh, bye-bye. GDXJ, nice. Retest to a T. That is an M top. If you're shorting it, no, you got your stop is very logical, very obvious. GDX, same kind of thing. Nice little pop. Here you go. Yada, yada, yada. You have your, and again, you have your levels. You have your stops. It's real simple. AEM, nice little pop up today. Naturally, look at this. Doji, the 0.618. Interessante. We'll see what happens here. Personally, again, no crazy moves in the sense of like, hey, I've got to jump on these, especially with gold and silver stuff. I mean, I just have to warn people. I don't have endless bandwidth to trade everything. I'd rather just focus on some of the markets and the market names. I think they're going to move better. AG. This doesn't make sense. I'm telling you right now, anomaly. AG should be up in the 11s, and it is in the freaking 9. At 9. Something's not right, miners. Newmont, pop right back up. Couldn't get to the, I hate this thing is a piece of snot. Look at it. Gets up here. Flap. Straight back. Good old pass. Pops. Man, decent pop. Comes right back. Doesn't look good. All right. Tech. Let's start with AMD as normal. Pop, flop, chop. Keep an eye on it. I'm telling you, semis are going to be an absolute short. Taiwan semi. This one is going to the top of my list because right now it seems very obvious that China is going to be playing games and threatening to take over Taiwan. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who wants to source their chips through Taiwan. Even if it doesn't happen, think about it. Think. If you're the one ordering chips, hey, do you want to go through someone who's a supplier who's going to Taiwan with the odds of something happening? Or do I just want to, I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass on Taiwan semi. I'm just going to go with someone else. Think about that if you were running a business. This one is an obvious short now, in my opinion. Because it only seems like it's going to get more aggressive. And you play the game. When it chops, then it's going to start to flop. Put that on your radar. NVIDIA. People were excited about getting it 2 days ago, the 200-day. Gets into the next upper box. Man, to a T. Wow. Yeah. I mean, you're so close. I don't know why you wouldn't get up into the mid 190s, potentially. Keep that on your radar. I don't have a position for NVIDIA to short. Because, again, they might benefit from all this. SMH, nice little gap up. Closes, right at the previous highs. Who is it? XM talking about 243. It's 0.618. And this area, the trend line, yeah, 240s would be nice. But, again, so would... I can't say this. So would pocket aces hitting the flop ace, ace, king versus ace, king for $1 million in a pot. Yeah. But my point being is watch how we act up here. That candle is painting bearish. It is painting bearish. Watch for the retest. Watch what happens when it gets into the 230s, right? If you want to start stabbing there, that to me makes sense. Adobe making another high today, but look at that. Not that pretty. A lot of these names looking suspect. Technically looking suspect. We'll see. Apple, man, tries, what did it get? A 149.97, some sort of Price is Right shit. And look at that. Pulls back. Didn't get any. I mean, I'd like, again, the safest short is in the 150s. If it doesn't happen, doesn't happen. Amazon, people talking about buying this down here. The gaps up, flops, chops, fills the gap. I mean, this tech. I mean, this is the thing. Tech doesn't look that great. You can short it on higher. I mean, again, I would try to short things that look like they have more room to run. Laggards lag. The whole sector's crap. But to me, financial, certain tech, love it. Love the short. CRM. Thought we'd get up here. Guess not. We'll see. Maybe it happens tomorrow. I mean, a lot of these names, if they're in between areas, you just... What's your favorite? None of these are my favorite to really trade. Nice little pop. Talked about getting up here. We'll see. I mean, you're just kind of throwing darts, and that's the problem. I don't want y'all throwing darts. Meta, I really want to see the 127s minimum. Pops, chops, flops. Mr. Softy, you're welcome to 263 to 265, 200-day. Booyakasha. I missed that one. And the only reason why I'm saying the Booyakasha is like, hey, look, it hit that, and again, if you can identify support and resistance, you have a talent, you have a skill, you have an ability to do that in other places. Here it hit it. We'll be watching to see if it hits it again. I've said this 1,000 times. Microsoft is overvalued times a billion. NDAQ. Now, this one I had an itching for a short. And I'm not talking about like jock itch or athlete's foot or bed bugs or mosquito bite. I'm just talking like this is a beast. Like, this is the one that I want. Because if tech is crap, well, guess what? So is the exchanges that are going to be trading these stocks. NDAQ. Absolutely. So it popped today. I was like, I got to get some of this. I got to get some. My alarm went off. You can see it right there. Ding, 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 ding. Took a stab. You're welcome. I don't know. We'll see. This close is nice. Doesn't mean it's all over. Maybe it forms some sort of head and shoulder pattern. Maybe the shoulder line is more complex like this one. Either way, starter jacket short. Who's got their starter jackets? I still got my Eagles one from when I was a teenager. Love that shit. MicroStrategy. Oops, sorry, YouTube. I think I've cussed now 3 times. Please don't ban me. It's all for good fun. Hit the 50-day, backs off. I don't know. Fill the gap. Now what? Guess as good as mine. Netflix, man, hit our upside target. Really wish stupid ass Wells Fargo wouldn't have upgraded the stock, because then if it would have flopped down to here, would have bought it and been gone. Now what? Trade over. I don't know. I mean, I know people want to, want to cry. Give me a tissue. Nah, whatever. Who cares? Roblox. Another one we liked if it was lower and it pops and flopped. Now this point in the market, I don't know, man. Tesla. Things that aren't bullish. Look at that. Wipeout. Well, Elon better raise more capital. Pronto. Look at that. Makes new lows. Someone was bragging yesterday about the good trade of the upside, which, hey, they took their profits. They got out. That was the winner. Congratulations that you did, because here's the thing. Holding this overnight, scary. Scary. So at this point, I would just leave it alone. I mean, long it, short it, I don't know. I've told you guys and gals this I've been screaming this for months. This thing's a turd. The blow off top. Here you go. You're at the 50-month. Does it hold? I mean, if you are long the stock, you better say 7 Hail Marys and pray to sweet baby Jesus and hope that it holds. If you're short, man, that's... Yeah, it doesn't look bad. Materials. Letter X. X hits the spot. Talked about it hitting the 50-day or 200-day bounces. It's not the close you really want to see. Does it look terrible? I mean, terrible. I mean, Charles Barkley, terrible. I don't know, man. Again, all these names, it just doesn't seem like long as what I want to see. And I mean, when I say what I want to see is what I want to trade, because the opportunities for short seems better. Risk reward, right? It's still a bear market. Did anything really get figured out? Probably not. The Fed's going to probably over tighten. We don't know. Keep in mind, when the Feds do pivot, that's usually because you're in a recession. Yikes. We'll see. Could this be the 1970s we chop? Another question for another time. Nucor, Gap, chop down. I mean, none of these names look like they're, again, someone's like, oh, do you want to buy these? I'm like, hell no. I don't want to trade any of these names. Just trade the SPY. Focus on what you can focus on. If you're trading names that are acting slightly different than the market, but aren't the market long today, I was like, no. Just trade the market. Again, emotional mental capital. How many things? Yes, dear sweet baby Jesus. How many things can you focus on in your manger? Whatever that thing is. Anyway, VALE. Talked about that being a professional gap, maybe. Doesn't look great for commodities. And if that's the case, interesting. Arrow, copper. Is this a novice gap or a pro gap? Holy crap. Crap gap. I don't know. This thing is clearly not obstructed by what's going on. Congratulations if you own it. I mean, who cares? Not who cares. I don't know. You just don't know. I mean, I'm not Jim Cramer. Neither should you expect yourself to be. CCJ. Oops. Fission is coming. Whatever. Power. I don't know. Again, I've told people to lay off uranium stocks, especially this one. This one has been in the tanker. It's trying to float the river, and it's probably going to get called on its bluff. Because, again, Westinghouse is crap in the sense of they've had accounting issues. They've had issues before. We'll see. I mean, that deal might turn out being good long-term, near-term. No. So again, here someone was asking about CF. Should I buy it today? I'm like, buy what? No, absolutely not. Market's not confirming anything. It's just chopping around. You know what I mean? Like, we're trying to top these stocks. Again, they're not the market. Like, do I want to watch 10 other names, or I just want to watch the SPY and trade SPY? I think I'll just trade SPY. Mosaic, flat, chop. Pop, flops back. Looks pretty... No, actually, doesn't look great. NTR, same thing. Pops, flops back. I mean, all these names. Check, please. Moving on. AA. We talked about there was a trade yesterday, and you're welcome. I mean, I know I'll get probably one donation from someone saying, like, yeah, you were spot on yesterday with AA. You said somewhere in the 43, 44 area. Oops. That's pretty solid. And then if you traded it, cool, 10%. Adios, amigo, you were gone. Nice trade. At this point, do I want to play? These candles are tough. They're very tough. Just be thoughtful. That's all I can really say. XBI. Someone was talking about shorting it yesterday. I'm like, God damn it, no. Gosh darn it. Gaps up. Again, this thing is just noise. I mean, it looks like a game of ping pong, and you were playing on the short table. It just seems stupid. It doesn't really seem like it has much upside. I mean, like CF, at least it trades in like 5-10 point ranges. Like this 10-point range is like, it's going to take 3 weeks for it to play out versus like 1 day. Pass. All right, let's talk about financials, because that's the ones we started to short today. You're welcome. If you saw pre-market, I mean, man, what did it get up to? 33, 36. It got up real close. 36, 36. Got real close to this. Well, guess what? Opened up. I'm like, that's good enough for government work. This candle looks pretty damn ugly. This candle could be interesting trapping. Don't short the lows. Watch for bounces. It's really that simple. Morgan Stanley. This is one we shorted today because look, I've been saying 95 would be an absolute gift. Well, is this a novice gap blow off? America. F yeah. Da, 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 da. That's what you want. I mean, that's the move that I want to see of a pop and a flop. Potentially. Now someone could say, oh, is that a professional gap starting the move? Yeah, I don't know. Probably not. And if it's not, even better. Because here's the thing, right? When you look at this, right? When you look at this, what do you see? Rubber band man getting tired. One little exhaustion gap. Check, please. Moving on. Yes. Like, watch anything. Again, 93, 94, 95. Layer in. If it pops tomorrow, watch it. Short it, potentially, with stops. Please, with stops. Do not take any of my advice as financial advice. Consult a financial advisor. And if you're trading, guess what? You need to figure out why, how to execute. Bottom line. You got to love it. You got to love it. Here you go, JP Morgan. Gap up. Put that on your watch list. Again, anything over 135, 136, short. Remember, banks going to have problems. Any questions, thoughts, concerns? And before I start moving through this and be done, remember, I'm going to do open live chat afterwards for a couple minutes. But let's keep going then. I mean, that's why NDAQ and banks were the most obvious ones to me that I could catch. Now, someone else caught something else. High five to you. Well done. Tan. Talked about it wasn't a short down here, but we said we had a watch. Well, guess what? Gaps up. Let's close over the 20-day. Tough to know. ENPH keeps hitting that 330 level. Backs off. If you took a short today, I get it. Just be prepared to defend it. It might not, or pop out. It might not go right away. Sedge, this is interesting again. This for solar, it's a novice gap trap. I mean, here I would, at this point, 335. Put it on your radar. Hit me up if you see it. First solar, talked about it. You can't chase it. Well, look at that. Pops right back. I'm telling you, 160s, I don't know. That's what I'd be looking for. Again, all short trades are predicated on the market going lower. If you're trying to short the market and you think it's going higher, don't do that. All right, let's end it on some of the oil names real quick and just blast through this. USO, congrats. Again, if you bought it down here, we talked about dojis getting tired. Could it go lower? Yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted. And this is the thing they always laugh about. What I want, what happens, it doesn't work like that. We try to put the higher probabilities. Well, it pops up. And then just like we saw on the futures for oil and gas, 75, 76 area, wicks back. UNG, somebody was asking about this. I'm like, I don't know. Again, this ETF will get decay if it's not going in its favor near term. Same thing with natural gas at the trend line potentially. I mean, again, I'm not saying short this stuff, but I don't want to buy it either. So just moving right along. XOP, talked about how it got volatile in 2008, 2009. Up, chop. I mean, I'm watching the 120s. If it's not there, I can't confidently say I know where to get in and get out. Like, I want to have references and stops against. People just don't want that. It's like getting into a hand in poker or blackjack or whatever. The probabilities, and you got to get aggressive. You have to think the probabilities in your favor. You can't just be guessing. Like ExxonMobil pops up today. I mean, would you buy it? I don't know. No. Would you short it? I don't know. I don't think so either. It doesn't really give me do you want to put your reference somewhere around 109? I don't. These names just they don't look bad, but they don't look like I'd be jumping all over them. PXD, as we said, it goes down, goes up, nice little gap up back into the channel. Interesting, it closes right at it. I set my alarm. You can see it down here in the 200s. I just stopped me out. I gave up on it. That's just part of life. EQT, I guess we'll go into that one. People act Oxy as well. Like this thing again, they're fed. I mean, they can't manage their own futures desk. Piece of crap. I mean, until they can hire somebody from my Discord room to trade natural gas for them. Good luck. Natural gas is hard. It's so damn hard. Oxy, again, holding 200-day. I don't know. All right, I'm going to end the recording. If you have any questions, stick around. I appreciate all the love, support. Please be thoughtful. It's the Fed day, and then Thursday has typically been the day that matters post FOMC, because tomorrow's like no shit Sherlock, everything is coming kind of day. It's the day after that matters. So on that note, let's let's stop recording and stick in and ask questions. Stop recording. All right, cool. This has been recorded. If you have any questions, feel free to pick my brain, talk junk. I know some people who are just always amped up to just play this game of you were wrong. And then it's like, well, what were all your plays? Let's see all your hands. What did you trade? Oh, but you're the professional. And it's like, well, technically, yes. On paper, not anymore. And here's what I would say to anyone who thinks trading is easy, hard, whatever. You're only as good as your last damn trade. You're only as last as your last trade. So I don't care. If you're getting better at trading, then your probabilities get better and you can do better. What do you think about seasonality in gold and silver? I mean, I've said this 1,000 times. Silver, gold. I don't like them until they pull back at some point in December potentially, or January. Pulling that one out there, because that sometimes you get that too. But watch the dollar. I mean, this is the thing. Like, if you don't own gold and silver, who gives a shit? I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but like, what are you going to do? Buy it now? I mean, if you wanted to buy physical, you should already own it. And if you're going to trade it at this point, I mean, you can't buy this now. So it's like, the only question is, do you want to short it? Where I'd say, probably not. But the action on it today, a little ominous. The dollar, a little ominous. Talked about the DO, dollar bill, y'all. Where are you, dollar? Thinking this could be a trap. But here's the thing. The only way that the dollar goes higher if the market dumps and the dollar dumps. If this is the novice gap bottom and the dollar's about to rip higher, then gold and silver probably going to get curb stomped. Just like they should in December. If it doesn't happen, I mean, it's one of those things where you have to learn to let trades go. The mind wants certainty. It wants to say, well, I get into something, it's got to work. Well, you miss the trade, move the fuck on. I tell that people all the time. It's like, no, I'm still looking at this stock. And it's like weeks later, and it's like, you could have been in this or doing this. And that's the goal, is to be able to pivot. It's to be able to pivot. Like, I look at gold and silver, and I think, man, well, damn, I was hoping it would pull back in December. If it doesn't pull back, I'm not buying it. I'm just not going to buy it. And it's really that simple. I don't need to start drawing it out so deep, because what happens here is if I say, all right, I'm just not going to buy it, now if it does pull back, I can observe what it's going to do. I'm not sitting here with a tight brain and emotional capital being leaked out of my neck and out of my armpits trying to figure out where the pullback is to buy. Just let it happen. I mean, it's a good question, and that's hard, man. It's hard, like, because you're going to miss gold and silver moves. And again, if this is a multi-year bull market that's coming in this stuff, I mean, if you follow the page, we got in when the last Fed spoke, right? And then we sold it up here. Is that good? Because again, since then, it's been a lot of headache. This was the easy money. Right? Oh, sorry. I apologize. Took most profit and then took all of it at the 200-day. Sorry, that was a couple weeks ago. Again, I just haven't even focused on gold and silver. Remember we talked about taking profit and then waiting potentially for the 0.786, the 200-day? Waited for it. Took it. Gone. That was the easy money now. Again, like, I've made my money in gold and silver for this quarter. I don't really have many expectations. Yeah, miners don't look that great. But be aware, if the market dumps, miners are a liquidity trap. They get slammed too, man. They get absolutely smoked, potentially. Because if there's credit issues, the market locks up, they can't get money, no one's buying stuff. The commodity is different than the miners. So that's a good question. or a good comment. I agree. They don't look great. Divan Dizik, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Any thoughts, questions, concerns, feedback? I know folks get timed out or get booted from the board. They always love to like chime in like, you were right, you were wrong, or no, never right. Sorry, you were wrong. Rah, rah. It's like, don't you need to focus on what you're doing versus what everyone else is doing? Because this is the honest truth about trading. Your account balance is the mirror. Stop looking at everyone else for their references. Like, you can only compete against yourself and what you know and what you do. If you follow me blindly all day, all the time, well, then you're going to see at some point we have mistakes and are incorrect. But if you bought the SPY at the dips today, great. If you shorted at the highs today, great. Those were two lovely, lovely trades. So what can be the trickery? I mean, I explained it earlier, but I'll explain it again. So we got to go to the monthlies because this is where the trickery of the dollar and the gold, right? Let's do it. 2008. Let's get to the 2008 period. When did gold bottom? October. When did gold bottom this year? November 3rd, potentially. Right? Popped, and then it chopped when it got back to the old highs. Now, could gold currently get back to the old highs? I'm saying I think the 20-month is where it's going to probably cap at. Watch the dollar. Remember, the dollar started flipping and what was it? Where are you? There you go. 2008. I mean, I showed this earlier in the video. It pulled back in November, hence why gold went nuts in 2008. And then gold got stuck as the dollar retested the highs. That's the trickery I'm talking about. And so the trickery with the dollar on the intraday, just because if you missed that part as well, look at today's action. You know, we talked about the low 28s. You're welcome. Dan, you're an idiot. Okay, well, we called this. Here's another thing. We called the high here, literally. That was the high. Called that. Is this the low? I mean, we said we were going to get down to the 200-day. Now, this is the thing. Everybody only remembers the one-day stuff. That's why I'm a swing trader. And then I always tell them, like, every day I don't know. I just don't know. Some days have better odds than others. But at this point, this potentially could be the dollar bottom. But here's something you know, too. If it breaks below here, look out below. That's all I can really say. Patiently waiting for the entry for entry point in the Soxus. Okay. Well, clearly, if you took a little on the SMH today with the Soxus, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Nothing. Ain't nothing wrong with the little entry today. I mean, I want Taiwan semi. That's what I want. I think Taiwan semi could get absolutely blasted. I guess that's, actually real and metaphorically speaking. Sad to say, but that's true. Soxus, again, I don't really chart it, but if you're looking at it now, obviously, I have in my notes, should hold around 30 or check out for the mid 20s. Well, you got 2680. Not bad. Trading. That's what it is. We'll do what we got to do. And here's the thing. For the people still sticking around, I appreciate it. Say that today was the top. Do you not think there's going to be some sort of pop going into what? The end of the year? Maybe January effect? Like, you don't have to, you don't feel like you have to do something. Because that's one of the things I keep telling them. Like, if you're buying long dated puts, you might want to buy some short dated ones too. Because when you hit your bottoms near term, you might get a bounce that's pretty aggressive based on seasonality and money flows. And if that's the case, you got your long dated stuff, you got your short dated stuff, you take your short dated stuff, you put that money in your pocket, you pay yourself, you pay taxes, maybe you throw DMAX a $5 bill for a thank you, and then you just let that stuff ride and wait. Maybe even go long. Oh, Eric, you dirty dog. Getting it at 27. I figured, dude, you've been hunting that one pretty good. You've traded Soxus really, really well, and Now that you say that, I mean, again, if I've known you for years, I don't know why you'd ever say something that I wouldn't believe. Just like you know that everything I say is genuine. I love it. Fucking love it. Did I curse again? Damn it. Sorry, YouTube. I love it. Now, again, is that, I mean, you're probably, and when you say got some, you probably got some, meaning a partial position, and now you can wait. And if it comes back up there, you're probably not going to stop out, but add, but then have an overall stop for the whole position. I love it. Hercules, so exciting. Good job, boy. Down by the beach, boy. Yeah, love it. All right, any more thoughts, questions, concerns? Man. Just some. Nah, you missed the bottom by 20 cents. You suck. Come on. I expect better now. I mean, I always tell people, like, if you can get close enough to the bottom where your reference now tells you where, if you're right or wrong, that's a pretty damn good entry. Oh, and I always laugh. People are like, how often do you pick the exact bottom and the top? Like 1 or 2 out of 10 times. I'm close, but I'm not at the exact bottom. I'd consider giving Eric a star for the exact bottom if that's it today. I mean, this is what trading, I mean, like, and I think it, Drew, are you listening? Because let me talk to you if you're listening. You said in the Discord room, you had in your plans to short the open. You waited, you did nothing. Bro, welcome to the world that a lot of people probably went through, and then that's when they shorted lower. At least you didn't short lower, ideally. Here's the thing. When you have a plan, Eric probably had a plan, I had a plan today, you stick to it. And if you miss it, you just let it run. And you can't get mad about it, though. And this is what the only thing is, like, be better. Don't wish the market was easier, be better. I mean, that's some of the greatest advice that I used to get from my mentors is don't wish the market was easier. Wish you were smarter. Wish you were better. Wish you were more patient. And so here's the patience thing. And yeah, Eric's saying right now, probably going to get another pop in the FOMC tomorrow. So be a red alert. Do we get a significant rally to 415 or 420 on the SPY? Always possible. Just be aware, though, that I think we all not agree. Everybody listening, everybody leave a comment below if you watched this far. Does it look like the IWM is lagging? I'd like to see 10 comments below after this video. Is the IWM lagging? IWM, S&P 500. IWM's down here. S&P is up here. I would call that lagging. So, if you know that for a fact and you expect another bounce, doesn't it seem likely that if you get that bounce, you need to short it? Jackson Hole 2.0 speech tomorrow. What does that mean? 2.0 speech. What are you referring to? Like, what do you mean? Like, what did he say? I mean, again, I've seen like 18 Jackson Hole meetings. What did he say? That they would pivot if they need to, or they're not going to pivot? Lagging on my charts, yeah, no doubt. I mean, I just think it's very logical that whatever Powell's going to say, it's going to seem something like this. We raised 50 basis points today because that was our plan. We're going to be data dependent going forward. We know we're nearing the max of our trajectory with rate hikes. Thanks. Ask questions. And they're going to ask questions, and they're like, and he's going to say, well, we're looking at the data. And we're going to look at the data. And ideally, we're done by first quarter 2023. Chart thing over. Market does what it's due. Market's still in a world of pain. Potentially. Why bottlenecks? I mean, CPI at 7% is not good. Still not good. I don't know how anyone takes it as a victory lap. Now, does this end up turning into some sort of like 1970s game? Yeah, well then if that's the case, we have a down. And it might not be like some significant long-term bottom. It might just be the ultimate chop range to chop, chop, chop. And someone's like, what the does that mean? Let's do it. If you got a second, you're sticking with me. Let's see if we can get the S&P 500 back into the 70s. I was meant to do this on some of my reviews, but I'm like, you know what? I'd like to do it on a long-term. Where will I be able to get? I don't think I'll be able to get in the monthly. I'm trying to get back to the 70s. I guess I'm going to have to do I mean, what was it called in the 70s? SPX? Oh crap, I don't know. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I was gonna say it only IPO'd like in the 90s. I guess we'll just have to do S&P 500. I wonder if the cash index goes back. I apologize, I didn't do this earlier. No, of course not. Duh. What would be the ticker for the S&P 500 on TradingView? If you know it, great, because I don't know TradingView that well. I'm trying to pull this out of my behind. Would it be just this one? That's a big fat no. Anybody know the one that would go back in the 70s? Maybe it's just indexes. No, I already did. What is that? No. Well, I apologize. I'll have to pull it. I mean, if you have a ticker symbol for it, I mean, where's the back to the 70s? I have it. I have Markets in Motion by Ned Davis Research, so I have like the chart literally in front of my face. And if you look at it, the 70s were a mess. They were an absolute choppy, sloppy, crappy mess. S&P, no. I mean, when did the SPX start? Oh, that is... Never mind. I should be a student of this shit. How did I not know that? Sorry, thank you, Netstar. I was thinking it was the SPX, but I'm like... But is the SPX the same ticker for the SPX? Like S&P 500. So here we go. Let's go to the monthly. Let's pull up the 70s. Let's party. 1970. Does this not look like 2020 COVID? Here we are. Pop into like chop. Makes a new low below the COVID lows. Chops and goes absolutely nowhere for a while. A peak, a bottom in November of 74. I mean, let me pull up our monthly now. Let's just, again, I love doing this stuff. You gotta love this. We bottomed in, September of 2022. Does it look perfect? No. I mean, I feel like we're more in this. I mean, think about this. Like 121 down the 90s, down 20% rally, bear market rally. Are we at this stage where it's like going to be this chop action in the sense of like we don't have much downside? I don't know, but this is what's coming. I think if inflation, if they can't get CPI and let the market tank like it should, I mean, you're just going to see years of shit hockey trading choppy markets, which, hey, for you, me, everyone here, like that's fine. We'll survive. Leaders will lead. It's going to be commodities are going to go higher. Tech, certain industries are going to be crap. Probably retail will have no margin. Tech will be crap. Semiconductors will be crap. But the things that are the bottlenecks will slowly find supply, and others will lead the market up. I wonder if can we use like U.S. oil? Will that go back that far? Yeah. Liquid black gold. Does that go back? No, I was gonna say like that's a joke, right? What's the old oil? Like, what would be the longest dated oil ticker symbol on TradingView? I guess maybe it's the W. No. I feel like an idiot. I don't know. Good guess is mine. But if you studied oil, it had some pretty wide ranges before it broke out in the 70s. God, what would it be? I didn't come prepared. So if anyone wants to, what would be oil's long dated ticker on this thing? Why is that? I guess that's the rolling easy. I don't even know what easy markets means. Idiot sandwich. Like, how far does oil go back on this? Oh, perfect. You did have it. That's what I thought. No, not really. Oh, here it is. It's like kind of spotlined. You can see it started rallying and just chopped. Anyway, long story short, this is what's so hard about like the near-term bottlenecks and how long and how high we go, I think we all agree that higher oil prices bring on the next wave of technology that will hopefully curtail oil prices and inflation. We're just not there yet. So how high does it go? I mean, you guys can guess as well as I do, but I think we all know with the federal deficits, everything going, commodities, things that you can drop on your foot and hit it, houses, things you can run into, things you can beat your head with, hard assets will appreciate. It's just what percentages, which will lead. All right, any other questions, thoughts, concerns? 70s, oil. Remember, Iran embargo or whatever, Middle East embargo, whatever that, all that. Again, I wasn't paying attention to the markets in the 70s. I'm not that old. Not as old as some might think. I don't know. Any other thoughts, questions, concerns? You got my full attention. Thank you for SPX. It's like, why did I not remember that? Ugh. I guess I am getting old when I can't remember ticker symbols. I mean, I've been using e-signal and Q charts forever. In certain tickers, it's like, what? What? I don't know. Sabalina, staying cash now, no lotto, same words, besides small UUP long position. It makes sense. Yeah, you're welcome. Prophetic, poetic. I mean, you got to think about like this. Like, this market is... The easy up move's probably down. How hard is the down move right now? That's the question. We really don't know. I like bank short. I mean, do we believe that the next phase of this market's going to be around more global insecurities or instability? I don't think anything got figured out. I think, if anything, it gets worse before it gets better. Because as much as people want to praise Western leadership, I mean, they're literally asking for what we're getting here. As much as you may have hated the previous president, he knew how to keep those jackals locked up from doing what they're doing now. Whew, it's tough to know. And what time do you expect the pivot? If the market drops, the pivot probably won't be obviously until like February or March. I mean, the schedule, the FOMC meetings, if I remember right, there's one March. I think it's near the Ides of March 15th, and there's usually one in like late January. So those become your two pivot meetings, but then you would need the market to get smoked. But here's the thing, the dollar can anticipate that, right? Like, that's the one thing that the dollar could absolutely do. If the dollar knew the Feds were going to pivot, it will start dumping. And that's the thing. People like, buy the rumor, sell the news. Like, the market's very good at anticipating stuff. Like, you have to think about that. Like, the dollar's not going to peak when the Feds pivot, right? It's probably already going to be down and dropping, right? Same thing we talk about with like bonds. If the market starts getting really hairy and inflation coming down and commodity, everything gets slammed, then the TLT is probably going to be rising, right? We talk about that middle. And this is where I'm like, man, if you were looking at real estate and you have not thought about it from this perspective, like, check this out. Like, this is what happened in 2009. November, December. I mean, rates, if I remember right, I think they went from whatever, like, I don't know. Remember the TL, it's hard to remember what specific, but I mean, they went from like, I think 5%, fours, fives. Because remember, they started peaking and rates went lower as the recession started to potentially grow. But they spiked down a ton of interest rates. And it was like, man, and here's the thing, you may not have made a ton of great equity initially on your investment properties, but you got in back at low interest rates when people were puking. And if you got it right, you may have gotten some great seller concessions. People don't talk about that, but man, that's the biggest thing going right now. Like, I got a client who I'm trying to convince her, I'm like, listen, you're on the cusp of being able to qualify. Pay full price and get seller concessions. Get them to buy down your rate 2 points. That's a lot. Well, if you go from like 5 and 7/8 down to 4, now she can afford the monthly payments. Now, would she like to save money on the front end? Yeah. Like a little lower price, but let's be honest. If real estate's going to go up, would you, over the long term, would you rather have the lower long-term payment or save a little bit on the cost. Is this not obvious? I'd rather have the lower long-term payment, not have to refinance ever again, and have that sucker for a 30-year note and just let that shit run. Versus, oh, well, I saved 5% on my loan, or it's not my loan, on my cost of my house that I bought or my investment property. Because you're going to get that 5% back at some point. You might not be able to refinance at lower interest rates. That's the big question. All right. I enjoyed these as always. I appreciate the participation. I mean, I know this isn't a big room, and I tell people this all the time. Like, I don't do SEO optimization. I'm trying to fly under the radar. So I appreciate all the love, support, the donations, just the feedback, whatever. Because it makes it worth my time to help people out if I really feel like they're getting something from this. If you're not, give me some more feedback. But again, like, we're not going to be mainstream. You're not going to see me on CNBC. You're not going to see me on podcasts talking to a bunch of tens of thousands of other people, because that's not what I want to do. You know, when you have a little secret, a little edge, the goal is to just kind of help out your friends and family. And as I told people at the time, if you're not in the Discord room, you want to be in it, let me know. I want to know your story. But ultimately, the Discord room is not going to be big. It's not going to be a lot of people. It's going to be a lot of great traders. We're going to be quiet. And I will probably post stuff on Twitter. I'll do the like daily recaps, but it'll be like very cut and dry, like simple stuff. Like, here's the market levels. Just watch it. Talk to you later. Bye. Dollar needs down for the pivot with VIX over 50. Baby goes out with the bathwater. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You know, we could have this conversation for a while. We don't know. We just don't know. And that's why I'm really proud and happy for the folks who've been sitting in cash and they didn't do anything for maybe 10 days, 2 weeks. Maybe it's only 3 days. I don't know. And then they struck today. Awesome. All right. Y'all have a great night. Be thoughtful. Be safe. Be smart. Remember, tomorrow's going to be whipsaw. Don't get surprised by the up and down action. Talk to you later.